Okay, so we have got our hands full, and we've been bringing in data and checking out how to add data, how to find NAs, run basic statistics. Well, what happens when I've got data in all sorts of different data tables, and I want to try and bring those together? So we've got to start thinking about how do you merge data frames. And that's what this whole section is going to be about. So if I have data frames, with different variables, and I want to merge them, or let's start with a what if. And I want to merge them, or I want to add more data, and not just line by line. I want to add more data to an existing data set. Basically, I want to append data to this, right? Well, let's start with the simple. Right? And that is appending data to an existing data set. Now there's two ways to do it. You can concatenate, or you could use append. All right? Either will do. All right? And so what I've got here is I've already put this code in. We've seen this before, reading in April 21. Well, what if I also wanted to add these things together? So april21.csv. What if I wanted to have these all be in one file versus having them be in two files? All right, so let's read this in. We're going to import this. All right, now we're going to read in df1, and we're going to read in df, and then we're going to read in df1. And we'll get the info on each one, just so we know what is in each of these data files. All right, and what this code is going to do the code reads in April and May 2021 data. All right, and when we brought in the 2021, what we did was we got rid of all the duplicates. So instead of isolating the unique brands, which is what we did before, and instead of doing it each month, let's combine them. And then go back to the querying where we got rid of all the duplicates. And we're going to apply that same code to the April and May combined data set we're going to create here using either concatenate or append. All right, so we're going to use either one. right? And both of these, concatenate and append are below. The outcomes will be the same. All right, so here I've got both of these things here, right? All right, this one has 8.5 or 8.5 million records. This one has close to 8 million records, and we're gonna combine them. All right, so let's do the concatenate first. So we'll create df2, and that's going to be equal to pandas concat. And the two data frames we want to concat are df and df1. Okay, that's it. It's really not that difficult. So let's run that. And very quickly now we have both of these combined. And I wanted to, I could add and see that they both add up to this 17,300,000. Oh, yeah, 17,308,030 if I added both of these up together, right? So, and get across brand, description, price, and size. Let's just throw out the append function, and that equals df append. So we're going to start with April. That's data frame df, and we're going to add to it df1. All right. So let's run this, and df3 should be identical to df2, and that's what we see. Okay, identical as far as its shape, its size, etc. So either method works. What you'll find as you move more into more Python or R is there are multiple ways there are multiple methods to use to execute the same task. My guess is, and without having done it, my guess is if I had more than just 2 data frames, I might use concat, because this appears to allow me to put in df, df1, df2, etc., 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 just to put those all together. If I'm just doing 2, then either one works. This one is fine, adding df1 to the end of df. Right? So which one do you choose? Well, your job as the analyst is to make a choice and disclose your method. The documentation, right? I'm gonna beat on this a little bit. Documentation throughout your code is important. Within the code, you document in a manner similar to the way I am describing these lessons in the script. Trying to give you as much information as I possibly can. Now, I'm doing a lot of this between the triple, but there's another way of doing this, and we mentioned it earlier. and that's to use a pound sign prior to any line. All right, to illustrate that, all right, these hashtags, you see it changes the different color. These hashtags are good ways to document a single line versus the paragraphs that I'm using. And as you remember, in the front of each line, you've got to have that pound there. So versus the paragraphs that I use above. Any script you provide me has to have some documentation. All right, that's very, very, very important. I want that to just become natural for you. All right. So that's part one. We're going to keep on going and keep talking about merging.